natural aesthetics, digital art, and philosophy in the era of technologized biomimicry. This is an excerpt from material from a class that I developed and taught earlier this year called Digital Art and Philosophy. All of the slides for the class as well as tonight's slides are available at slideshare.net/LaPlana. So when I ask you, what comes to mind when I say digital art, what might you say? What is digital art? Go ahead. Something using computers somehow with art. Any other ideas? When I say digital art, what do you think of immediately?
Photoshop.
What?
Photoshop.
Photoshop. Okay, so probably this picture that I have is not what comes to mind, but probably any sort of ideas relating to these pictures are. And I like to have a nice big definition of digital art, which really involves anything with computers and art, using computing and technology to make art, to present art, or to have content that's art-related about technology. These are all immediately identifiable as having been made by technology. Here is an example of one of the most a notable example of digital art by Jeffrey Shaw. It's called The Legible City. And in this gallery exhibit, you as the participant come and sit on a stationary bicycle, and as you bicycle through images of a city lined in letters, you create your own narrative of that experience. Another notable artwork, digital artwork, is this one called Boundary Functions. And in this case, it's again interactive in a gallery. When you step onto this floor, boundaries pop up and you negotiate the digital boundaries with the other participants in the exhibit. These elements of interactivity and co-creation of the exhibit by the spectators or participants are one element of digital art. It doesn't have to be only this way. Other examples of digital art include video games, virtual worlds, immersive virtual reality experiences, as well as newer things like information visualization. Also biomimicry, dimensions of digital art like we'll be discussing tonight. And increasingly, things related to identity construction, our new wearable computing era, biosensors, and other things related to that. And another interesting aspect of digital art is electronic civil disobedience. In these cases, a virtual sit-in, for example, or augmented reality social graffiti. Digital art got its start as the internet arose and in aspects related to hypertext and net art. As we scramble for a definition of digital art, we might remind ourselves that it is still very much up for grabs as to what is the definition of regular art. Most of the genres pictured here were not considered art at the time, early in their own evolution. One of the best definitions of art, though, that we do have is from Danto, that art is whatever the art world considers to be art, whatever insiders from art schools, museums, critics, and artists deem art-worthy, and that would also be true for digital art. Why are we talking about digital art and philosophy? Well, there are three domains that we have for analyzing reality: philosophy, art, and science, where to understand what's happening, we look to philosophy's creation of concepts, art's creation of qualitative experiences, and science and technology's creation of quantitative understanding. Now understanding that digital art is a combination of anything regarding computing and art, we can layer on another dimension, biology, so that we understand digital art and natural aesthetics as anything involving technology, art, and biology. There are a number of interesting philosophical issues that arise. For example, what is real? As you look at this picture, let me ask you if you think it's an image of something real. And if so, what kind of real? Is this naturally evolved life, synthetically created life, or perhaps a computer graphic? How many people think it's naturally generated life? How many people think it's synthetically generated life? Some of the same people. And how many people think it's a computer graphic? Yes, so definitely we're in all camps. And in fact, this is a computer image of a real cell. But more importantly, what's starting to happen in our world is that it's increasingly impossible to actually distinguish what has generated a particular image or object that we're presented with. This becomes important to us in many cases when we're dealing with things like people, images of people. So we see Emily here, her real picture on the far left, and her computer graphic version next to it, which are virtually indistinguishable, and all of the faces on the right are computer generated. So somehow, sometimes it seems like something is not art or not real if we know that it was generated by a computer. Interesting feature of our age. Next topic I'd like to discuss is discipline portability. This is the idea of one discipline using another's medium. In this case, BioArt, where artists appropriate biological techniques for their own art practices, using live tissue, bacteria, or other living organisms in concert with scientific processes to create art, such as this petri dish bacterial art. Here are some other notable examples of BioArt. The ear mouse, created in 1997, a human ear grown on the back of a mouse, where science practice has turned into art. The green fluorescent glow bunnies and glow cats, and this lawn chair sculpture from the Chlorophilia show. More recently, last year, was presented in London the Algae Opera, an interactive performance and audience consumption piece where an opera singer produces CO2 to feed algae to feed the audience. The singer and the scientist are portrayed together in the publicity for the event, as well as performing together in the show. And this was part of a broader commentary on the future of agriculture. Another interesting contemporary dimension of BioArt is tissue-engineered BioArt. So as soon as we have a new scientific practice, we appropriate into the creation of art. In this case, two exhibits are pictured, semi-living worry dolls, where during the course of an exhibit, real cells are cultured and grow to the form of a Guatemalan worry doll during the exhibit. And the second one, the Hyme Next designer Hyman series, where real hymen cells are cultured and pictured in a gallery exhibit for the usual feminist commentary. So this causes us to think of a number of potential questions, such as, is commentary strengthened somehow by having the more visceral BioArt representation of the ideas? Or perhaps new commentary is required because we're working with a new medium. There are other practical issues in exhibiting these kinds of wet BioArt in galleries, including living matter transport across state and international borders, and artists like Stephen Kurtz being arrested for legal issues as a domestic terrorist because he was working with genetic material as an artist in his garage. Another local artist has exhibited this work called BURS, the Building User Response Gizmo, where heart and lungs represent the energy load on a building in San Jose. So the lungs are really taxed, for example, on a hot summer day as the building consumes electricity and air conditioning, of course tweeting its progress. This is very interesting as a group data example when not just as one person find out about their own data or their own energy use, but rather a community and ecosystem of everybody in the building was able to interact with energy consumption data. Next thing I'd like to talk about is form and function, classic debate, where here are some pictures of functional imaging from science, but it's turned aesthetic, and now there are best science pictures of the year where the images are really quite beautiful. Aesthetics remains a feature in scientific practice in fluorescent staining. Another example of form and function is artificial life, which is a technique combining the study of science with art. And whether it's deemed art or science really depends on the intention of the particular project. So here, for example, are two projects where the purpose of the project is to learn more about science, about evolution. And so they are science projects. These, the intention, the purpose of the artificial life project is art. and we see some examples. Generative art is also related. This is art created with the use of an autonomous system, which could be a computer system or a mechanical system. And so it's quite interesting to that the art is actually determined by the system, not the humans that have programmed the system. Some of the output of this is Brian Eno's 77 million paintings work and some other works in music. Another example of form and function is biomimicry at the macro scale, such as these buildings, the smart cactus building with the shades that close in response to sun, and snail and crustacean inspired buildings. Also these sea anemone inspired buildings in the Himalayas as part of a water reclamation and management project. Other examples of natural dwellings would be living tree houses. This causes us to think more specifically about living and spatiality and dwelling. How many people have studied Heidegger in some sort of your past? Wow, lots of people. So Heidegger, of course, is quite concerned with being and time. He's also concerned with spatiality and has an essay where he considers building, dwelling, and thinking, where these feelings of being at home, placeness, and dwelling, belonging. The central theme around dwelling is not the conventional idea we have of a shelter or lodging, but rather a human emplacement, that we feel in place and belonging in our environment. And if we have dwelling, what that makes possible is the placeness of place, and of course, for Heidegger, the most important thing, the meaningfulness of our being. So we need to feel a sense of comfort in dwelling so that we can realize our potentiality as humans. Well, where are we dwelling? Mostly in the city, over 50% of us worldwide as of 2008. And that's causing us to think about how we may reconfigure space in different ways. This is Masdar. Have people heard of Masdar, the energy city of the future, perhaps visited it in Abu Dhabi, which is now inhabited. It's a zero carbon emission city envisioned for 50,000 people. We're also configuring our space in cities, such as vertical farms. The one on the left pictured is a design for San Diego, and our transportation space. Also, we're reclaiming space in new ways, perhaps with seasteading and airsteading. So as we consider this de novo production of space, it's interesting to notice that we already have a dwelling trope home in a lot of our technology. The core central place that we always return to in many of our online properties is home. And even on our mobile platform, home screen is the whole home, is the whole starting place. So we are starting to think more about organizing our physical and virtual space into and answering questions like, how can we build virtual spaces for dwelling meaningfully? How can I dwell more meaningfully on Facebook? The next concept is de novo creation, which we see with synthetic biology envisioned as a possible transistor of this century. Synthetic biology is the de novo construction and design of biological entities, and the explicit goal of the practitioners is function, safety, and beauty. So the artistic dimension is already built into the goal of the practitioner. There are several philosophical issues that come up in regard to metaphysics, such as existence. What is life? How much DNA change might be necessary to create a new organism? What are living machines in and of themselves? And how should we classify and name them? So here in the bottom right is Craig Venter's synthetic biological creation, which he has named Mycoplasma laboratorium. The usual ethics issues are present, such as safety and accountability, and there are also epistemic issues, such as how are we pushing the bounds of our knowledge with creating new biological machines. Interestingly, in molecular design, aesthetics is an issue that's taken up. This whole issue, in fact, of current opinion in chemical biology in December 2012 talks about some of these issues in a number of interesting papers, such as the ethics of chemical biology. Some of the issues taken up in these papers concern developing a design aesthetics for molecular design. Can we make new molecules, and should they be beautiful? Are naturally occurring molecules beautiful? Because for example, there exists chirality in molecules, i.e. they are either right-handed or left-handed. They aren't symmetric on either side, which is a property of traditional art. So perhaps we needed new design aesthetics for considering molecular design. Then finally, the individual and society, a perennial topic in philosophy. As we see, is everybody familiar with the Quantified Self movement? A lot of people. So this is a movement that started 5 or 6 years ago. It consists of people worldwide doing any sort of self-tracking, often with a variety of different kinds of gadgetry. And these people have started to make art with the output of their activity, stemming from or including fairly simple visualizations to this is actually Gmail on the bottom left, a woman tracking the creative ideas she had through a tool she made in Gmail, and then a gallery exhibit of quantified self art here on the right. Another example of our online social networks internet era allows us to have new crowd models for almost everything, and including the development of art. In these works by Eric Whitaker, people worldwide participate. 3,000 people pictured here sang. They all sang the same piece, and then they're assembled in a virtual choir, which really gives a sense of the worldwide sublime. So in summary, we talked about a variety of different philosophical issues that arise in natural aesthetics and digital art. The impossibility of determining what is real or computer generated in many of the images and objects that we find in our world today. And then instead having accuracy, authenticity, and intent foregrounded, so that, for example, in information visualization, we are representing the unrepresented. And so how can we make sure that we do that in authentic, resonating ways? In synthetic biology, we're creating de novo representations for things that do not yet exist. We have the idea of portability, different artists using the media, or different disciplines using the media of other disciplines. So artists using biology, scientists and engineers using biology and art, artists, scientists, and laypersons using data as examples. We also have multiplicity in production and consumption. So everybody's artists are exploring different themes, scientists as well, and laypersons also. We have the idea of how to dwell meaningfully in the new spaces we're creating, and the pervasive inseparability of ideas like form and function, individuality and sociality, and technology and aesthetics. Much of our contemporary human activity is both technologized and designed.